And now we'll move on to assignment 5B. 5B is harder than the last one, okay? You have to solve for x. We're going to do one problem. I'm going to do one problem on each page. If you're doing it on your own, you don't want to do that. That's fine with the 4 problems. We've got x over 3 plus x over 4 equals 5. Now we don't have it. First off, underline the 5. Don't put a 1 there. Just leave it empty. This is not an A, B, C, D. Okay, it's not a proportion. Okay, a proportion is just 2 ratios. I have 3 ratios. 2 are being added, and then 1. So we have 3 ratios. Well, that means you need to find an LCD from the 3 ratios. So you look at the denominator. So you have 3, you have 4, and then you don't have anything here. Don't put a 1. That's a waste of time. So what do we have for 3's? We're looking at 3 ratios. I have 1 on the bottom here, 0 on the bottom here, and then 0 on the bottom here. So I need to make them so they all have 1 3. So I put a times 3 and put it in front of the x on top. Remember, if you bring it to the bottom, it's got to be on top. And then just put a 3 here, and then times 3 to the top. Now they all have 1 3. Remember, when you times it on bottom, you got to times it on top. Now factors of 4, I have 0, 1, and 0. So I need them all so they have 1. So I times 4 times 4. Or actually put that 4 in front of the x. Looks better. And then times 4 and times 4. Now here's what you get to do on an equation. When you have the equal sign, you can just forget about your bottoms. Okay, you don't have to come down here and write 12. Okay, once the bottoms are all the same, you can just ignore them. Now you find your products. You have 4x from the first ratio plus 3x from the second. And then you take 5 times 3 times 4, which is going to be 60. Okay, so there'd only be one answer because I don't have x the second. So now the x's are on the same side. So don't minus 3 minus 3. You are going to add them when they're on the same side. So that makes 7x equals 60. Either leave it 60 over 7. Yeah, just leave it like that if it doesn't divide evenly. That's good. 60 over 7. The decimal try to avoid, because if you divide 60 by 7, you get that. You can go 60 ABC 7. I'm fine with that, and write 8 4/7. It's whatever you want to do, either that or that, but don't do a decimal when it goes on forever like that. Okay. All right, next one, example 2. We have 3x over 4 plus 1/2 equals 3x plus 4 over 8. One thing you want to do though, you want to parenthesize expressions that have a plus or a minus, like right here. Okay, you want to put that in parentheses. So we got to find a lowest common denominator. So we have 4, or actually not a lowest common, just any common denominator will work. Okay, because the way I'm teaching it won't be the lowest common denominator, it'll just be a common denominator. Okay, so actually I'll tell you what, make these lines so they are larger. Okay, I know I didn't do that on the first problem, I just worked up there, but you're going to want to make 3 bigger lines. So you have 3x and 4, you have 1 and 2. You have a parentheses 3x plus 4 and then 8. See, now I have room to bring in new stuff if I need to. Okay. Alright, so 4 I got 1, 0, 0. So bring 1 in. So I already have 1 here, so I times 4 and times 4. Times 4. If you have a parentheses, please put the 4 in the front. Okay. Because you'll be good to distribute then. Okay, 2, what do we have for 2's? Well, we have 0 here. I have a 1 factor of 2 here, and I have no factors of 2 here. So I need to do the first and the third have to have 1, 2. So I times 2 times 2. Okay. and then right here times 2 and times 2. Okay, 8, 0, 0, 1. So the first and the second I got to bring in an 8. So I times 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. Now I have common denominator. They're all the same, so I can get rid of that and now just work from what I have. So in the first fraction we don't have any parentheses, so it's just a straight multiplication. You take 3 times 2 times 8, that's 48, but it's 48x because there is an x factor there. 1 times 4 times 8 is 32 without any x's. Now over here, here's how you multiply this. First you're going to take 2 times 4, that's 8, and then you distribute. That is why it's important to have that parentheses there. If you have a plus or a minus within an expression on the top, okay, or on the bottom for that matter, you have really got to parenthesize that. So 8 times 3x is 24x, and then 8 times 4 is 32. So there'd only be one answer here. It's a linear equation. So I pick one of the x's and get rid of it. So I subtract 24x. So that's going to be 24x plus 32 equals 32. Then I minus 32 and I get 0. So 24 times x equals 0. Divide by 24 and answer still 0. Okay, so x is 0. You can have 0 as an answer. There's nothing wrong with that. No, I don't have the coronavirus. That's allergies. Okay. Example 3. Okay. So we have 3 over 2x minus 5 over 3x equals 2. Underline the 2, but don't put the 1 there, because a 1 would just distract you. Now one thing, if you have a minus, you want to make it plus and make the number on top after it negative. That's all you have to do. Now it's negative 5. The 3 on the bottom stays positive. Okay, so you have to get common denominators. So fraction, make the fractions wider, and we got to get a common denominator. Now in the first one, do not put 2x. Put a dot between the 2 and the x, okay? Because you have a factor of 2 and a factor of x. You don't put 2x is not something you want to put down. You need to separate the 2 from the x. Okay, and then right here, I'd have 3 and then another x. Well, I already have x right there. And then I don't have anything to worry about on the bottom here. Okay, so drop everything down. So you got 3, negative 5, 2. We don't put any parentheses yet. And then 2 times x, 3 times x, and nothing. So 2, what do I have for 2's? I have 1, 0, 0. That does not count. That's on top. Okay, you're looking on bottom. So I have one factor of 2 on the bottom here, 0 here, 0 here. So let's just get these two so they have a factor of 2. So times 2, and then a 2 times 2. Okay. X, I have 1, 1, 0. So I just need to get that third one so it has an x. So I put x and x. Now it's just 3. 1, 0, 1, 3. I have 0 factors of 3, 1 factor of 3, 0 factors of 3. So the first and third I need to raise it by a factor of 3. So times 3, times 3, times 3, times 3. Now the denominators are all the same. Okay, the common denominator is 6x because 2 times 3 is 6. But I don't really care about that anymore because I need to solve. So I just, on the first fraction, I got 3 times 3, that's 9. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. And over here, we take 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. Put the factor of x there. So 12x is by itself. I just need to combine these, add those together. 9 plus negative 1 is negative. 9 plus negative 10 is negative 1. Then I divide by the 12 because that's the coefficient to the x. And that's your answer. X is negative 1, 12. Okay, example 4. 2x over 3 minus 5 over x. Make that plus negative 5. Because I don't like dealing with minuses. I like pluses. Okay, so we need common denominators, so align your fractions. Now on top we drop them. We don't need to put parentheses on the 2x. There's no plus or minus within the 2x. Negative 5 just drops here, 1 drops here. Now on bottom, 3x and 3. And now I get my common denominator. So I have a 3, I have an x, and I have a 3, but I already have a category for 3, so don't write it again. So 3, I have 1, 0, 1. So in the middle, let's just put a factor of 3 there. X, I have 0, 1, 0. So let's raise this one by a factor of x. Now if there's already an x to the top, you're going to put a second power there. Okay? X, x. So now the denominators are common. Okay? So what do we have? We have 2x to the second minus 15, negative 15, and then 1x. Now we have two answers because it's now x to the second. It's a quadratic equation. So we label our A, that's a C, and that's a B. When you have A, B, and C, you got to move everything to one side. So I subtract 1x, and I don't have anything to put it with, so it would go here. But when I write it out, it needs to be 2x to the second. The A comes first, then the B, the minus 1x, then the C, minus 15. Okay? A, B, and C. Okay, so the GCF would just be 1 when you look at that. So I'm not even going to make that box. I'm just going to make my table. 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. So we have a positive times a negative. Okay? So we're adding to try to get to negative 1. So 130, nope, that's negative 29. Positive 2, 15, that's negative 13. Wouldn't be 3 and negative 10. 4 is a decimal. How about positive 5, negative 6? You betcha. Okay. Now again, A is not a 1, it's a 2x squared. So to do that, we need to make 2 sets of parentheses. We start with the 2 no matter what. X second becomes x, then plus 5 minus 6. Now 2x and 5 cannot be reduced, so that stays 2x, and that's your factor, first factor. Here you divide by 2 and you'd end up with x minus 3, or 1x if you want to put that. It really doesn't matter if you put a 1. So now we're good to go. 2x plus 5 could equal 0, or x minus 3 could equal 0. Well, this one I know is 3 because we add 3 to both sides. Okay, now over here we minus 5. That would give me negative 5. Then divide by 2. That'd be negative 5 over 2, or negative 2.5 if you want. So 3 and negative 5 over 2. Okay, example number 5. We have 4x over 5 minus 3 over x, make that a plus negative, equals 2/5. So LCD, or CD. Extend your fractions out. Tops you just drop, okay? None of them need a parentheses around them, okay? Because there's just one term. Okay, the bottoms, 5x and 5. No pluses, no parentheses need to be around there. Okay, LCD, we have 5 and we have x. So 5, we have 1, 0, 1. Okay, so in the middle we put a 5. X, we have 0, 1, 0. So x, just make that a second power. Just put x. It's very similar to the last one. So we're going to have 4x to the second from the first. Remember, once the bottoms are the same, that allows you to just forget them. And then negative 3 times 5 is negative 15, minus 15, and then you got 2x. So it's a quadratic equation. You have two answers. So label your A, where's the B over here, and then the C. So you got to get everything to one side. So I'm minus 2x. I put that out here if it doesn't have anything. But when you rewrite it, you got to put the A first. I mean, it's just like a third grade alphabet. B and C. Okay, GCF would be 1 once again. Okay. So 4 times negative 15 is negative 60, so it's a positive times a negative. But the problem with that is it doesn't exist. You can go, and remember, here's how to find if the T-chart works, because I know you're just going to use that square root part of the quadrant. You're going to make 2 parentheses at the beginning, b squared minus 4ac. Okay, so on a calculator, if you got to use your phone, that's fine. Go square root right there, okay, right next to the 1. You'll need 1 parentheses comes up, you need a second one. So I got b, well b is negative 2, okay. So minus 2, close that. Second power, you hit your XY key to the second power, okay, minus 4, A is 4, and C is negative 15, okay. Or on this calculator, you can just go, if you have one like this, second square root, 2 parentheses, so b is negative 2, close it, you need it to the second power, subtract a 4 in parentheses, the a coefficient in parentheses, and negative 15 in parentheses, okay? Since that's a decimal, that tells you the T-chart is not going to work, so you have to use your quadratic formula. Opposite of b, plus or minus the square root, b squared minus 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a, over 2a. Okay, so the opposite of b is positive 2, b is negative 2. 4, a is 4, c is negative 15. Remember, it's negative 15. And then a is 4. So we know 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so we got 2 plus or minus. Now I got to figure out the square root. So I'm going to make a couple of them. I'll put a minus there. What's negative 2 times itself? It would be 4. It's not negative 4. Okay, any number times itself is positive, even if it is negative. Now I take 4 times negative 15, and that gives me negative 240. Now if I'm minusing a negative, it's plus, and that's 244. Okay? So now I find the square root of 244 on my calculator. Clear this all. Okay, so square root 244. 15.62. So cross your square root out, just put 15.62, and now you're good to go. So I take 2 and add 15.62 equals, then I divide by 8. 2.20. Then I take 2 minus 15.62 equals, then divide by 8, negative 1.70. So those are your two answers. Okay, then the last example we have. 1 over x plus x over 2 equals x plus 4 over 2x. So again, you got to solve for x with 3 ratios. There's no common denominator. You need a common denominator, then you extend your lines. Okay. Look at the top. We need a parentheses there. Okay. So you got 1, you got x, you got parentheses x plus 4. Look at your bottom. You won't need any parentheses. You got x, you got 2, and then 2x. Remember that 2x means 2 times x. X and 2 are separate on multiplication. So common denominator, we have x, we have 2. We have 2, which I already have, and x, which I already have. That's why I put that dot there, because I don't want anybody to put 2x. When you're doing a common denominator, never put a number with an x. Okay, it's x and the numbers separately when it's times like that. Okay, so x, you got 1, you have 0, that doesn't count, it's on top. And you have x here, 1. So that middle one, we'll just put x, and that goes to the second. Okay, 2, you have 0, 1, 1. So I just need to put a 2 here. And now everything has the same denominator, 2x. So now I can, once they're all the same, they can be crossed out. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1x to the second. I'm going to put a 1 in front just because I like that. And over here I'll put a 1 in front and just distribute. It's just x plus 4, 1x plus 4. Okay, again we have the same deal. Quadratic equation. That's an A. This would be a B, and these two would be C's. So everything's got to come to one side when I have A's, B's, and C's. So I minus 1x. Since there's no B over there, I'll just put it behind it. Minus 1x. Minus 4. There's a C, but there's a C over here where I can do minus 4. Now remember, you got to put it in order. 1x to the second comes first. Minus 1x. 2 minus 4 is negative 4. Okay, now I'm going to use my b squared minus 4ac. That'll tell me if the t-chart will work or if it won't, so I don't have to waste time. Okay, so I go square root. You need 2 parentheses to start out with or it won't work. So we got b. Well, b is negative 1. So I just put minus 1, close it. Second power, you hit this key and then 2. Okay? Minus, and then always a 4 in parentheses. And then the a is 1. And then my c is negative 4. Remember, it's negative 4. Okay. Or wait a second, I did that wrong. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. I messed up on that. Okay. So I'll redo it. Sorry about that. Okay. B. Negative 1. Second power. Minus 4. A is my 1. And then negative 2. Okay, that doesn't look like a decimal to me, so I should probably do my t-chart. Okay. Remember on these calculators, if you brought one home, so B, negative 1 second, minus 4, 1, negative 2, 3. Okay. So negative 2, it's a positive times a negative, so we're adding to get negative 1, and it don't take long. 1 and 2 does the trick. Okay. A is 1, so if A is 1, you can just get rid of it and write x plus 1 times x minus 2 equals 0. So x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0. So I'm minus 1, that's negative 1, and then I add 2, negative 1 and 2 are the answers. Okay. Then you got your assignment. I'll make a vlog that goes with